Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A West Ulverston man found guilty of decapitating his housemate and lying to cover up the crime has been sentenced to 23 years in prison. A Hobart judge called the crime grotesque and vicious in handing down her sentence to Darren Ward-Gale today.
It's at this home, a judge says, senseless and grotesque violence took place. Justice Helen Wood today sentencing 54-year-old Darren Ward-Gale to 23 years in prison for the vicious murder of his housemate in 2016, saying his victim, Noel Joseph Ingham, was physically vulnerable when Gale moved in. Soon after, the murderer began to exploit the situation when he saw financial opportunity, growing attached to the more comfortable home. The judge saying the defendant embarked on a series of acts which sprung from a selfish motivation. While Justice Wood said she doesn't know the exact events, a one-sided altercation took place, leaving the home spattered with Mr Ingham's blood. Gale then buried the headless body in a shallow bushland grave. The head was never found. The judge says the defendant has shown no remorse at any stage, and a pathologist said he could not identify the cause of death because he did not have a head to examine. In her sentencing, Justice Wood handed down a longer than normal non-parole period, attributing it to the callous nature of the crime and attempt of concealment. She said Gale tried to cover up the crime through lies and deception, selling his once housemate's belongings and profiting from the money. He'll be unable to apply for parole for 14 years, backdated to November 2016. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
There's developing news from the Supreme Court now, with confirmation Susan Neal Fraser has filed another appeal against her murder conviction. We cross to Louise Hedger for more on this breaking story. Lou, good evening. How is she fighting her conviction?
Joe, this notice to appeal sets out Sue Neal Fraser's next step. Her lawyers are hoping to overturn her conviction on the ground of fresh and compelling evidence. She's continued to profess her innocence after being found guilty by a jury of murdering her partner Bob Chappell on the yacht of Sandy Bay in 2009. She won the right to another appeal in March and filed documents today. They list the new evidence to be raised, including that homeless girl Megan Vass was on board the yacht when Mr Chappell was attacked. It also raises issues with DNA testing and a crime scene reconstruction. So now the matter will be heard again by the Court of Criminal Appeal after Neal Fraser used Tasmania's new right to appeal legislation. But Joe, the date for those hearings is yet to be set.
The Health and Community Services Union says the government should go back to the drawing board on mandatory sentencing. State Parliament defeated proposed legislation late yesterday. It would have imposed a minimum 6-month prison term on anyone convicted of assaulting frontline workers like paramedics, nurses and correctional officers.
Be better for the government to look at the current laws that exist and perhaps strengthening those laws in the event that these things happen.
Speaker Sue Hickey used her casting vote against the government to defeat the bill. She says sentencing should be decided by informed magistrates and judges, not politicians. A Tasmanian senator's seat has been sitting empty since the federal election. Helen Polly has missed 3 weeks of sittings, amounting to a total of 11 days. The Senate granted her a leave of absence early last month, with the fellow Labor senator citing personal reasons. Her office wouldn't elaborate on those reasons today. Welcome back. A youth service provider is desperately looking for financial support to help keep a Hobart employment program running. Troublesmiths gives young adults vital work skills but could shut in October unless extra funding is found.
It's a shop giving back to young people. Troublesmiths opened today on Murray Street, selling a variety of homewares made on site. But it's more than a business, also providing a training ground for young adults.
From customer service right through to the soft skills like their teamwork, group work, communication, problem solving.
Helped me get out of my shell and get the skills I need to get a full-time job.
Teams of 12 spend 8 weeks running the shop, from opening and closing, right through to managing stock. Mark says the program aims to open future employment opportunities.
We've had young people going on to apprenticeships, working in the hospitality industry. We've had a number of young people start their own business.
While excitement builds ahead of tonight's official opening, their future is clouded. Federal funding ran out earlier this year, with the state government stepping in until October. Mark warns that unless a sponsor can be found, they'll be forced to close.
And we think that there is nothing else like what we're doing on the market for young people who aren't in the education system.
Those currently in the program are pleading for someone to step in.
I think this is a real good opportunity.
I know how much it's helped me become who I am, like more sure of who I am as a person. So I think it'd be a really good opportunity for other people.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian students will soon be asked to share their thoughts on school life in an effort to better understand young people's health and wellbeing needs. This term, students in grade 4 and above at every government school across the state will be invited to fill in an online survey seeking their views and ideas. The initiative has already been tested at Taroona Primary School and hailed a success by staff.
It was a really powerful process for us to be able to obtain student voice data for the first time, to run alongside the other data that we were collecting from the students.
We need to hear about what they're thinking. We need to hear about some of the challenges that they may be experiencing, and we need to hear about how we and our school system can support them in their learning.
The survey will be undertaken annually, with data going back to government for review. The tatami mats have been rolled out in Launceston for a battle of the country's best karate athletes. But be warned, if you're thinking of heading along, prepare to hear some screaming.
It's not a quiet sport. This is where the hopes and dreams of karate's best have arrived for the 2019 National Championships. Tasmania's team of 32 is just a drop in the ocean of the nearly 600 athletes.
We're a small team, but we pack our punches, so we'll walk away with quite a few medals today. We've already got a couple this morning so far.
Hobart's Finlay Rossiter Hill has spent months training for the moment.
Yeah, I love the adrenaline. I feed off that and the pressure. I love the people watching me. I love to show off a little bit. It's all part of the fun.
It's only the second time the event has crossed Bass Strait. Younger fighters dominated the tatami mats on day one, as judges watched the fists and footwork. And with karate added to next year's Tokyo Olympics, everyone is dreaming big.
And this is the first opportunity that karate athletes will be able to represent their own country at an Olympics. So all over the world, the excitement, the buzz is really powerful, and everybody wants to be that first karate Olympian.
18-year-old Finlay isn't ready for that just yet.
If it continues in the Olympics, of course, yeah, that's the goal. Everyone wants to be in the Olympics and get that nice Olympic tattoo on the side of their ribs.
There's still plenty of gold and glory up for grabs in Launceston. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
It's taken 5 years of weeding and planting, and today a community garden in Launceston is now fully up and running. It's all due to the hard work of locals, bringing a friendly space and fresh produce into the area.
With tools and hands right in the fresh dirt, these junior planters are dropping seeds into their blooming community garden, proving to be a hit among the locals.
It's good for the environment, and it's like a good place to get your fruit and vegetables and to hang out with friends in the nature.
And they're under the watchful eye of gardener Peter Richards, who has been the visionary since 2014, pushing for the 1 acre garden to be built, planted, watered and tended weekly by locals.
Oh, it's absolutely tremendous. It gives people a purpose, and in the future, I mean, when they come here, they can say, well, I helped build this.
Pioneer Parade Garden, producing fresh food above and below the ground to inspire a healthier outlook.
I think we've lost at least 30 years of gardeners, mostly because of fast foods. So now we're trying to get people back to the healthy way of eating.
with the initiative also aiming to develop a strong community bond for the next generation of gardeners.
It's good for the area. It's not something that's an eyesore. It provides good interaction between the different age groups, and it also provides nutrition, obviously, and for future skills moving forward.
It's really good for the school, like we can come down here and learn about composting and how to plant and everything for our future life.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
The TSL and Lauderdale's charge towards September is likely to continue tomorrow, heading in as heavy favourites against Clarence. But with nothing to lose, the Roos are hoping to prove problematic on their home deck. With not many giving his side any chance against the rampaging Bombers, the Clarence coach decided to try his luck with some mind games instead.
It's a good opportunity for our young group to play a really good team in Lauderdale, probably the best team in the competition, flag favourites, so it's a good challenge for us.
The cellar dwellers' hopes of notching up their second win of the season has been given a boost, however, with goal magnet Jake Cox set to return following a lengthy stint on the sidelines with injury.
He's been the one that's really carved us up over the years and turned games in a quarter. So we put our best defender on him.
We understand that Lauderdale's going to bring a lot of pressure this week, especially early, I reckon, and try and slow us down and get us to turn the ball over early on.
Now 2 wins clear on top of the table, and with just 4 matches remaining, the Bombers will look to close out the regular season as minor premiers, but the Roos would love nothing more than to provide the upset over their bitter Eastern Shore rivals following a competitive showing against the Pies.
When Glenorchy did come, we went into our shell with our ball movement. We didn't pull the trigger, but also we didn't want to run and overlap and create. So that's something that we need to make sure that we get right this week.
We always know what to expect when we play Clarence. So they're going to come out hot. We'll come out hot because the players know each other and they want to win the game.
The Tasmania Devils will be hoping to leave local fans on the right note when they play their final home match of 2019 tomorrow. And despite some heavy losses throughout the season, the coaching staff have hailed it a big step in the right direction. It was the side's first crack at the country's premier under-18 competition, bringing with it its fair share of ups and downs.
Look, it's just looking at the travel, the ability to get the group to train together. We're competing against sides in the competition that are training 3 nights together, as opposed to we've probably trained together 8 or 9 times over the course of the year.
Taking on the only side sitting beneath them on the league ladder in Geelong tomorrow morning, the Devils will be out to salvage some last-minute pride in front of the North Hobart crowd, with players hoping to relish another chance to shine in front of AFL talent scouts.
Rather than win-loss stuff, we look individually with the players and see the improvement they've made, and that's been the real emphasis right across the course of the year for us, and just making sure that the kids are improving week in, week out.
And despite not earning the right, the side will still get the chance to compete in finals thanks to a wild card game in a fortnight's time.
We've learned a lot. There's a lot of things that we'll put into place for 2020. I think we'll come back bigger and better, no doubt at all.
To soccer, and Northern bragging rights will be up for grabs for the final time this NPL season when Riverside host Launceston City. And it's expected to be a hotly contested affair, with the ledger between the sides all square in 2019 at 1 win each.
Both our teams are very close in terms of where we're at, so that makes it even more interesting, is that you know that one team isn't going to get blown out.
Kick-off is at 2 p.m. at Windsor Park.
Good evening, welcome back. 14 degrees today in Hobart. Launceston and Devonport had a top of 13 with 12 degrees in Burnie. St Helens and Maria Island hit 15 degrees, which was the state's top temperature. 14 degrees at Fingal, Bushy Park and Campania. 13 degrees on King Island. 12 for Smithton, Lowhead, Scottsdale and Ouse, with 11 degrees at Strawn. The charts show overcast, low-level cloud across the west and surrounding water, sunny conditions in the east with snow on the Central Plateau and Ben Lomond. Low cloud sits over most of the southeastern quarter of the country, the rest relatively clear. Tomorrow shows a large high centred over the York Peninsula, dominating Australia. Cold fronts sit over Bass Strait and the southwest coast of WA. Westerly winds 20 to 30 knots, shifting southwesterly early on. Winds reaching 25 to 35 about the south, with seas mostly to 3 metres, higher about the southeast. There's a gale warning current for eastern and southern coastal waters from St Helens Point to Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning for all remaining waters, including southeast inshore waters, and a small craft wind alert for the southwest and the Central Lakes. Onto the forecast, 12 degrees in Hobart tomorrow, 9 for Medina, 8 at Oatlands, showers early for those parts. Cloudy through the north, 13 in Launceston and Devonport, Lyowini a top of 4 degrees. 13 in Burnie, 11 for Strawn, 12 in showers for Marrawar, with 13 degrees the top for St Helens and Swansea, 12 at Orford with showers easing. Light showers about the west on Sunday, pretty fine conditions elsewhere. Similar again on Monday, those showers extending up through the north, with showers about the west and the north extending statewide early on. 22 degrees in Perth tomorrow with some showers, 15 degrees for Adelaide and Melbourne, a sunny day in Sydney, 20 degrees, 23 for Brisbane, with a sunny 31 expected in Darwin. It's 11 degrees at the moment in Hobart, mostly cloudy. Launceston a clear night, 8 degrees, and 10 in Devonport. Have a great weekend, Joe.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sam. I hope you do too. That's all from the news team for now. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Thanks for your company. Bye-bye.